It's episode number 32. Thanks
Day
for coming.
32 of business as usual with
An asterisk.
which means keep working, but let's do it safely. I'm Mike.
And I'm Mary.
And before we start today with our message, which is very important, we have a shout out. You know, we have been given a wonderful gift, this body of work that Floyd Wickman gave us to preserve and protect and promote. And it is so timeless, and we just love expanding on it and applying it to no matter what market conditions we happen to have. And that's a great foundation for us. But there's another group of people that we want to say thank you to right up front today. And that's every one of our students who's in R² coaching. Every week, it seems, we get a PhD in real estate. I know you've heard us say this before, but what that means is these folks bring to every call cutting edge, real world, no BS, real estate stuff that's working right now in this market today. And they share willingly. They're the most generous people. And we get it from all of them and get to reflect back some of it to you. So that's where all this stuff came from Floyd's timeless principles and all we learn on our R² calls every week. And today's subject is
income maintenance.
Oh, is that important?
So if you have closings that are pending, we've got 2 tips for you today, and maybe a couple more tomorrow, right? But there's some things that we're learning out there. We want to get the message out to you. Now, if you don't have closings pending, we'll take some notes for when you do. Go get some.
They'll work then too. Yes.
Yeah, they'll work then too. So here's our first tip. Move up every closing that you possibly can, whether it's a couple of days, a couple of weeks. Try and get everything you've already got in the pipeline closing sooner.
Why is that?
Well, because the landscape is changing out there. Give us a change that you've noticed,
credit's
Michael.
tightening. We know that. We've seen that happening already.
Right.
And what's happening with employment status and some of the buyers, you know, they're checking employment right before closing. And maybe they won't get furloughed between now and then or collect unemployment.
But if they're furloughed, that doesn't count as that they're going to have their job back. My sister was told she'll have her job back. But if she were applying for a loan right now, and there's no guarantee, if you're furloughed, you don't get to close. So then you need automatic extensions. So to prevent that from happening, you know, your number one job is, well, besides feed your family and, you know, do your job, your work, your number one job is to take care of those buyers and sellers that have entrusted you to get this transaction put to bed. So anything you can do to speed up that process.
What about rate locks?
Oh, yeah. We heard last week about a bank that charged $15,000 additional to hold on to a rate lock. Now, granted, it was a jumbo loan.
Yeah.
But still, that's a huge, huge markup just to hold a rate lock. No one knows what's going to happen.
As Floyd has said many times, that sounds like a typical banker. You know, they'll lend you their umbrella, but they want it back if it rains.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
So when you move up your closings, you might might encounter a little bit of resistance, right?
Well, sure. What if a seller were to say to you, okay, we're closing 2 weeks earlier. Where do we live? How much is that going to cost us for interim housing? Or how much is the buyer going to want in return if they let us stay here until the original closing date? So what if it's, let's calculate what that cost might be to a seller to either stay late in the house or move twice.
I'm probably smiling inappropriately, and I'm doing that because we just had this situation 2 weeks ago where one of our students, very smart woman, encountered this. The seller said, well, if I move up my closing, we just calculated it, and it's going to be $5,000 additional that we have to pay in order to close when you think we ought to, because we're going to have to move twice. And we're calculating that move is going to cost us $5,000 before the next house is ready for us to move into. So here's what our most brilliant students said. Would you rather lose $5,000 today or potentially put your house back on the market in June for $50,000 less? Now,
why June? 50,000 less. What could happen between now and then?
Well, and she's in a $700,000 price range, so that affects how you look at that number. Boy, do I love that. Would you
Yeah.
rather lose 5,000
1,000
today
today
or
or
50,000 in June?
Yeah.
But what could happen? We're chuckling, but this is true. What could happen in June?
Well, everybody who's been waiting this out says, oh, now we can put our house on the market. And you know how supply and demand works? If the supply goes up, but the demand doesn't, what happens to the value of the supply? That goes down. It happens in every real estate market. It's a law. It's just the way it works.
Now, that's one possibility, but here's another. What if you wait till June and because of soaring unemployment, because of tightening loan lending standards, what if they can't find a buyer that's willing to pay full value
Right.
and they end up settling for less?
Yeah, bird in the hand.
Right. So,
For sure.
what would you prefer? Great little tool to get your sellers to agree to move up the closing. I think there's probably some tools to get the buyers to move up a closing too, right? Same kind of deal. We don't know what's going to happen.
Here's tip number 2.
All right.
To keep your pendings together and get to closing. And that is, now is the time to do extra hand holding.
Oh, yes.
Extra keeping in touch. Now's the time to create a team around every transaction so everybody knows what's going on every day. It's called Get Everybody on the Same Page. And that just requires more communication in a positive vein. And whose job is it to keep everyone positive and moving forward?
That would be us,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
We
Leadership.
are the leaders in this industry. We are the ones that are hopeful and inspiring and cajoling and fun. And it's our job to pull everyone together. No one gets paid unless we pull this off. You know, even calling people to say nothing.
Yeah.
Hi, there's
worth
nothing new. Just wanted to let you know I'm still out here working for you. It looks like everything's still going forward just the way we had planned. How are you doing?
You can come in off the ledge.
Right.
There's some gallows humor going on these days, but it's true. You just strike a positive tone.
Right.
Get everybody on the same page. So don't forget these 2 tips. We'll have more for you, but just for today, let's first of all suggest fast forwarding your closings. And then second, get everyone on
The same
page. Yeah.
Sorry.
This
That was
is
a
Mike
trick
and
question.
Mary with day 32, business as usual with an asterisk. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.